Hi, it's me, Ivy Barksdale Realtor with Guide Realty, coming to you once again with Black history from a personal perspective. Now, last time I talked to you about my dad and the lawsuit that he filed against the Chattanooga School Board, which became the longest running lawsuit for desegregation, lasting a total of 26 years. Now, in his book, he describes what happened in that 26 years to make it take so long. But I wanted to talk today about who my daddy was, kind of what drove him, what his essence was. And one thing for sure is that James R Mapp was a true leader. And from an early age, he was destined to help his people. Looking at the way society treated colored people, Negro people, Black people, African American, he felt compelled to write letters to the editor of the local paper, even as a teenager. He knew that acting on his concerns and going against the establishment was a difficult undertaking. However, it didn't matter if he was the only person to show up for a protest or if he was in the middle of a group of protesters. It was faith that would see them through. In his book, Chance or Circumstance, he says, and I quote, "We all had a deep and abiding faith in God and feared doing nothing more than doing something," end quote. My dad says they didn't always weigh the consequences of what might happen. It helps me to know the Holy Bible says in Hebrew 11:1, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen." And the thought of fearing sitting still relates to other biblical statements such as, "Without faith is it impossible to please God," coming from Hebrews 11:6, and James 20:6 saying, "Faith without works is dead." So while speaking out about the injustice being faced by Blacks was a start, faith meant action was required. The actions taken carried with it the risk of dire results for those involved. But it was their faith that kept them moving forward. And it was this type of conviction that propelled all who were part of the civil rights movement. And it is this type of conviction that is required even today as we look at Black Lives Matter. And there were many strides that were made during the civil rights and as a result of the civil rights movement. But as we saw in the past year, there's still so much more to do. So much more being challenged day by day. So next time, I'm going to talk a little bit about my parents and how they made their living and their involvement in various organizations. And then we will start wrapping things up as we move toward the end of Black History Month. Until then.